Thank you, Sierra. I guess we'll call this committee meeting, programming committee meeting to order. Let's see here. What's the day's date here? January 24th, a Tuesday at roughly 8:34. We're about 4 minutes off. We got a quorum at the meeting thus far. And did everyone get a chance to look at the minutes of our prior meeting? I know it's been a minute.
That's true. Yes, sir.
And so are there any changes, any additions, or any adjustments that's needed with those minutes?
No.
No, got it. Well, those minutes stand approved. And Rick, I guess we'll pick it up from there. If you want to take the agenda and move with that, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
One second.
Okay.
Point of privilege. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure we have roll call, and if we have any members.
Well, I guess when I did the accounting for everybody, so if you would please identify yourself to make sure we got a quorum, which we do, and if you would by stating your name and that you're present. And we'll start with you, Commissioner Carthen.
Commissioner Carthen, present.
Deputy County Administrator Frederick Perry, present.
Phyllis Banks, present.
Rick Martin, present.
So, I mean, Tiffany, I don't think you were actually a voting member. Am I correct?
I am not. I'm just here. I've been working closely with the communications department, so if you, just to provide any insight you guys may need if you're visiting.
So with that being stated, we've got a quorum, and we'll go ahead and move forward with the agenda. Thank you.
Super. Beginning with the agenda items, number one, vacancies. Commissioner Carthen and Commissioner Mitchell, one of our team members has accepted a new position, Ryan, in the communications department. So he's no longer with us. Myself, yours truly included, I'm working in a new role in the Fire and EMS department, enhancing public safety and communications among them. So that's occurred as well. So we just, wanted to bring those changes in terms of the vacancies and staffing.
Just one quick question to that, though, Rick. So is Ryan still with us? Still with the county, or is he moving where? I'm just curious.
Sure, he's no longer with the county. I submitted a letter of resignation to accept a management position at the University of West Georgia in their production and communications department. Phyllis, do you know which department or so, if I'm correct?
That is correct, Rick. He will be an operations manager in their communications department. He'll be working with students on helping them prepare projects, video projects. So yes, he has moved on.
Well, great, good stuff. Wow. Okay. And Rick, from my understanding with you moving over to the fire department, I guess you want to share, I guess pretty much we all know kind of that new role that you got and kind of your layout.
Sure, sir. I'll be enhancing communication levels with public safety, working to enhance, internal communication. For example, when, something occurs as such, making sure ASA knows if there's a fire or if there's a highway accident with substantial hours of delay, making sure ASA knows and DCA knows, making sure the commissioners know, and then ensure the public knows information, any disruption to, just the day of life for our citizens. Also managing communication through crisis situations when it comes to severe weather, storms, and at the same time addressing news media questions, concerns, and providing information around the clock. So that's a little bit, there's, our fire department, fire and EMS department, E911 and EMA is growing dramatically, as you obviously know. So, we're looking to really work collaboratively with the communications department to really enhance communication internally and externally.
Well, again, congratulations on your new journey and wish you the best.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor and a privilege, and I want to thank you, and I want to thank Madam Carthen for the support, as well as Tiffany Stewart Stanley, our ASA, and Deputy County Administrator Frederick Perry. This would not be possible, and my growth within government after my background, it's just showing that you guys have faith in me, and Phyllis and our team as well. So, I appreciate it.
All righty. Anybody else want to add to that vacancy part of the agenda? Any other comments?
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question. In terms of the vacancies of Director Perry, where do we go now? How are we looking to fill those? And do you have any updates in regards to that?
Yes.
Fred. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, so I believe that at this point, Phyllis, have we completed the request to fill for that position? I believe I signed off on that one.
Yeah, it's Tiffany. I worked with Tiffany to get that done, and I apologize. Assistant County Administrator Tiffany Stewart Stanley did assist me with filling out that paperwork. Yes, sir.
So that's how that starts. Madam Carthen starts with that request to fill, and it will go down to Human Resources. Now would be the time, and I say that to Phyllis and Tiffany, that if we want to modify the job description in any way, shape, form, or fashion, we can do that at this time. If we want to update it, refresh it, or what have you before we actually put it out, we can do that at this time. If not, Resources Department would put it out on the various sites that we advertise vacancies on, and the candidates would be funneled, I'm sure, to both Phyllis and to Tiffany for review and for consideration, and that's how we move forward. So I can find out where we are in the process. I'm not sure if it's been posted just yet or not, but I'll find it out before we get off this meeting today.
Great, thank you so much. And I'm assuming, of course, between Phyllis and Sierra, they have input as to what we really need. I know Ryan did a lot in terms of editing and those types of things, so we will definitely miss him. But of course, the team there knows where they need to plug in. So I see you shaking your head, Phyllis. So okay, great, thank you. I yield.
Yes, and with that, so with those vacancies, so Fred, as you stated, we're moving forward with kind of putting those positions out there, and I think there is some interviewing of positions currently with Rick moving over to the fire and EMS. So I think there, and Commissioner Carthen, I think you're part of that email as well, correct? That you're looking at a couple of folk, I think it is.
I believe so. Don't get me to telling no stories.
Yeah, I'm
but yeah, I will do whatever's needed to help the team. I know there was some communications going back and forth, but I haven't read the update on it. But I'm pretty sure if we, we'll get it taken care of.
Absolutely. Okay, so all right. Well, kudos to the team and Phyllis. I know you guys now are you're wearing 2 and 3 hats, trying to keep this thing afloat and keep it moving. But anywhere that you need our assistance, please, to include the Deputy County Administrator and Tiffany and all those guys, just please ask so we can kind of help. Now, if there is a need, and this is more of a question for Fred, you and Tiffany. Are you guys kind of, if they need to get some outside assistance to kind of keep this, ship afloat, have you guys kind of laid out or given them some directives as to what that looks like if they need some additional help? Because as Commissioner Carthen stated, Ryan did a lot, and the workload hasn't stopped. So are we kind of putting in place some where they can kind of go out and get some outside help to kind of keep them moving, basically?
So Tiffany has been leading the charge in the communications department, and
Okay.
I'll yield to her. But I will say that what you talked about earlier, the chief communications officer, we're finalizing that, and I don't anticipate this vacancy to be there long.
Got it.
Certain positions that fill quicker than others, and I anticipate that we can fill this rather quickly.
Okay.
And if outside assistance is needed, we've done that before.
Yes.
So the process of hiring, temporary part-time help. So.
Okay. I just didn't want to leave those guys out there with no help, and I know we still pounding them with projects and stuff. So okay, all right. And Tiffany, anything you want to add to that though, to that conversation?
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell. No, what Deputy County Administrator Perry said was right on. We all have been working together as a team to assist and help with anything that they may need. And of course, if they need any outside help, we'll definitely do whatever we can to get them what they need. But I have to commend Phyllis and Sierra because they have pulled together and they've been working very hard. They even went with Ryan to just make sure they knew everything and kind of to be able to move everything forward. So I think with their hard work and then everybody coming together to pitch in, if we need to bring anybody in, we'll definitely look to do so.
Yeah. Okay. So in making that statement, Phyllis, I just want to make sure you know that we got you, we got your back, and we want to make sure that you got all the help that you need. So please, ask. And I think from myself and Commissioner Carthen, we're there to assist, assure that you get the help. But if we don't know, we don't know. Okay. All right. Okay. Anything else on the vacancies? If not, let's move right along. I don't know, Rick, you want to continue this, or Phyllis,
Sure.
do you want to pick up and take it from here?
As a courtesy, Commissioner Mitchell, I would like to take it from here.
Sure.
Number 2 is regarding transportation. We do have a van that is in the shop right now that is getting repairs, some much needed repairs. So we wanted to make that known to the committee. Hopefully we'll have it back by later on this week or the beginning of next week. That has been a eyesore regarding the van. So we are working diligently to make sure we have good transportation because it is Sierra and I now. So we want to make sure if any travel is necessary, we have good transportation. We wanted to also move forward with the next agenda item, unless you have any questions about that, sir.
No, transportation, well stated.
Okay. The next item is studio and booth update. Everyone has seen the agenda, so I'm going to move to my OneNote document, if you don't mind, so that we can elaborate on some things that are on the agenda. If you'll give me one moment. Did everyone see that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to start with our event coverage. As you stated, work still goes on despite the vacancies that we have. And I thank Assistant County Administrator Tiffany for acknowledging the hard work that Sierra and I have begun since those vacancies occurred. But here are some of the standard events that we cover. We are adding coffee and conversations so that coverage for that can occur on Saturdays. And what we'll do is alternate staff to cover those. Beginning February 4th, I will be in attendance for your first coffee and conversation. Then we move on to our staple programming. As you can see, District Dialogue, the Douglas Daily, Pause and Clause has been added. We're looking to rebrand the COVID-19 segment into some sort of health segment. We still have Clearly, and we're still doing the BOC meetings. If you've gone to the channel recently, you see that we have rolling announcements. So any of the announcements that come from the commission or any other departments, you can now see those announcements rolling continuously throughout the day on the channel. Any questions regarding that?
Not from my end. Anybody got anything to add to that?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So, Phyllis, the one thing that I don't see is the committee meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
On your list.
Yes, ma'am. The committee meetings, and I will definitely add that. Committee meetings are still being handled by Sierra with the help of Tuan and IS. So
Okay.
Sierra is over that area and she's managing it very well.
Okay. And I know some people, you know, I don't know, and Commissioner Mitchell or either DCA Perry, you can tell me, will all committee meetings, whether in person or as we're doing this morning, Zoom, will they all be televised? Is that something we will continue moving forward? Or is that something based on the chair of that committee?
May I?
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
What we're doing is, like last week, at your request, we're working with everyone, basically. Preferably, we'd like to do the committee meetings virtually, but we will accommodate where we can if you want to have a in-person meeting. Last week, we did learn that there are some things that we need to improve on regarding sound. We had 2 meetings that were live in the boardroom. So there is some tweaking that needs to be done as far as doing the in-person ones, but we are working to improve that, Commissioner Carthen.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I did notice, I guess, depending on how big the meetings are at the in-person meetings, that there were some sound challenges.
Yes, ma'am. There were some definite sound challenges. So that's one area that we're going to have to work on, and I'd like to, discuss that further if you'd like offline.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I yield, Commissioner Mitchell.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this point, Sierra is going to take over to discuss the rebranding of DCTV 23.
Good morning, Commissioner Mitchell. Good morning, Madam Vice Chair. So basically, from my past experience, what I know regarding government access channels is it's really good to have an identity. It's really good for people out in the community to be able to say, that's DCTV 23. So what we've been working on is we've just kind of been gradually updating the logo, slowly getting that out there and introducing it to people so they get used to it. Part of that rebranding is the channel identification. So when you go onto our YouTube channel, you will now see kind of an opener video, which also falls under the YouTube bumper there. And basically it's just saying, it's letting people know you're watching DCTV 23. We kind of are going into a new year with a different mindset of trying to, slowly but surely be bigger and better. Within that, we've also created a new opener for District Dialogue. I was the one that went ahead and put that together. It includes all of our commissioners, including our new commissioner, Commissioner Mark Alcaraz. So we wanted to make sure that that was updated as well. And then, as noted there, it was all created in-house. So the rebranding of the logo in terms of making adjustments to it, Ryan did that and did a phenomenal job with it. He also was adamant in making that new bumper. I was the one that added it to YouTube, but other identification markers that we have now that fall into our rebranding include our channel bug. So I don't know if you noticed in the last meeting, there was a DCTV 23 in the corner of the television, as well as a time clock on top of that. And then on YouTube, we also have our watermarker, which is a different version of what we call a TV bug. So that way people can identify us. And it also helps in terms of if people needed footage from us or decided to use our footage, we would be able to point it out and let them know, like, hey, just so you are aware, this is in a sense copyrighted because it is. under our brand. So if you have any questions, I am open.
Just one, just one. So, in the rebranding, are we looking at all rebranding, programming, bumpers, and all that kind of stuff for all the programming we have, or I guess you'll gradually kind of improve on that though, because I know there's a lot of work. So, but
Yeah, it'll be gradually and as needed. So like a prime example would be with the COVID-19 show. That's gonna have to be rebranded because we're going in the direction of it being a generalized show of health. Whereas something like the committee meetings, that doesn't need to be rebranded, or even just like the BOC meetings, that opener wouldn't need to be rebranded. It's more so just making some additions here and there. But yeah, other than that, it's going to be a gradual rebranding, just trying to make sure people know that DCTV 23 exists and it's here for the community.
Got it. And last but not least, the clock that we have on the bottom right, is it possible to remove the seconds versus just the time?
I've actually tried that, and unfortunately it is not, because that particular clock is coming through our TriCaster. So it's reading it from a coding perspective. Before I even put it up there, I was definitely testing that idea. And I was just like, I don't understand. Well, I can't get rid of the seconds.
It becomes a little busy, but I get it if you can't, based on what software you're using.
Understandable, sir.
Yeah. Okay. But outside of that, I mean, I just think I noticed the newness and things that are changing, which is great. So we'll open the floor for anybody else. Any comments on the rebranding?
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Sierra Phillips, in terms of the new channel identification and the changes that you're gradually making, are you looking at the data on the backside to see if it's actually making a difference so that we could improve our subscribers or those viewing hours for the county? Basically, how are you going to track to make sure that the changes that you're implementing are actually ones that increase viewership?
Yes, ma'am. The hurdle that we're running into right now is getting the numbers for the channel. So that's something I've been working on. I have some emails to Comcast to see how we can better present those numbers and move forward from there on what we're doing. The only way right now that we're able to capture and numbers, actual numbers, is through social. I have reached out to, I know I reached out to Fulton County, and they didn't have a way to assess those numbers as well. So I think it's something that I need to continue to work with Comcast, but that is something we'll look into again, Commissioner Carthen.
Okay, and as far as the YouTube statistics and the back office part of YouTube,
yes, ma'am.
Are you capturing any information from there that helps? Because I know you're trying to figure out, okay, what YouTube views actually turn into viewership through our Comcast and vice versa, and with social media. So is it any way that the YouTube analytics could actually help with that, or do you know?
I'm pretty sure there is, and I'll have to defer that to Sierra, because we are broadcasting the majority of the programming. We're taking that to YouTube as well. So Sierra, do you have anything you can provide as far as that goes?
My thoughts would be that it's going to track it separately. So like Comcast will track the viewership of those watching on television at home, and YouTube will track the viewership of those watching through YouTube that are actually clicking on and it's opening up on their computer. So I'll have to go into the back end, Commissioner Carthen, but I'm more than happy to do that, see what I can find out for you, as well as do some more research on that.
It would just be nice if we did know, what our YouTube viewership is like as far as men, women, age, demographics, those types of things. And then we can start possibly better creating
Content geared toward that.
content for that particular group. And then it just helps the Board of Commissioners when we're looking at how we can better service the area, right?
Yep,
So
definitely.
as we continue to put out town halls and those type of things, it's just great to know who your demographics are that are in tune with what you're doing. And this could be a great help to us. So that is all. But thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Sierra?
Nope,
And
that
let me-
wraps
let
up
me-
then.
All right, Commissioner Mitchell.
Yeah, I was just going to add, and Commissioner Carthen, that YouTube does have in the back end analytics that will tell you that data, that information that will kind of get you up to speed as to what it looks like on YouTube, as far as who is watching and who, what they look like and all that kind of good stuff. So yes, that is doable. The question is kind of how do you get back and do the back end of it to kind of pull all that data. Comcast, I would think, have a way of telling us what that looks like as well. But again, I'm like Phyllis stated, I don't know their layout, and plus we are what we call a community station, and they may not provide that because
Right.
they give this service to us for free.
Right.
So I don't know, but Phyllis, you guys, between you and Tiffany and Fred, maybe you guys can kind of have a conversation with those guys, and they could probably give us the data and or tell us how we can get the data.
Yes, sir, we will do.
Okay.
Ready to move on to the next item,
Yes.
which is the studio. We are so far, I wanted to have some solid numbers for you, but we still have some invoices lingering around. We've sent in all of our final invoices, and it appears that we will be within budget as far as the renovations go. But we still have some studio needs that we would like to discuss and bring forward to you. We've ordered some guest chairs because the studio will need to be furnished for guests and chairs when we have in studio programming or production. We also will need some desk chairs once we, set up those programs or create those additional programs. So we'll need chairs for the desk. And then we're looking to just reorganize things here in the studio. So storage shelves will be needed for that. So we're working to get everything organized. And this is the second part of this is in the field equipment. We do have a invoice or a quote for that, and then a mobile teleprompter. We wanted to see about the mobile teleprompter for larger events, such as events that are held at the conference center, so that if there is a commissioner that needs to read from a teleprompter, we just need to upgrade the one that we have. Along the lines of the studio update, and I'll move to this next tab. We had somewhat of a final visit from Amatrace yesterday because there are still small things that need to be finished. As I mentioned, we are taking care of any outstanding invoices. The installation, there's a light installation that needs to be completed for the actual set. The install for the booth, we still need the audio board installed. We're waiting on a card that goes with the audio booth that needs to be installed. They did install the atrium camera, but there is still another piece that needs to go with that atrium camera, and they will be here on Wednesday to complete that installation. Install of the shelf. They did come by yesterday, and we now have a shelf that our studio light board will sit on. There was an issue with where to place it, so they built us a shelf to sit the studio light board on, and that's just the controls for the lighting that was installed in the studio. As I mentioned, the set furniture is needed. New shelves for organization. The studio sound measurement still has to be done. I mentioned the quote for additional equipment, and the studio speakers were installed actually yesterday. So that's where we are as far as the studio renovations go. I know this is a big to-do, so I am prepared to answer any questions at this point on the studio renovations.
Just one. So we're in budget, under budget as to kind of getting what you need and getting it done, I guess. Where are we with that again?
We are in budget.
Okay.
With the renovation of the project. I'm still needing hard numbers on where we are as far as the entire amount for ARPA, the money that we were given for ARPA, because for clarity, renovations and some constructional things, those were two separate items. So those kind of the construction things, as far as the lighting grid, which was covering the sprinklers. I'm hoping you recall this conversation we had where we had the fire marshal come in and do an inspection. So the lighting grid, anything that we did constructional, the flooring, the painting of the walls, also the camera in Citizens Hall that was hanging by a screw, that those things were outside of the Amatrace budget.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So they were additional needs. So I want to get some final numbers on where we are with the full amount. But I do know that as far as the renovations, we are on budget.
Okay. And I'm assuming you and Tiffany are working closely.
Tiffany, Assistant County Administrator Stanley Stewart. I'm also working with Jill, and I'm also working with Sherry and Rosalind to get a strong and solid number on where we are.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No
Anybody else got anything else to add to that? Okay.
And we are pushing forward. I know the date has changed a couple of times, but we are really pushing forward to get this completed. It's looking like probably mid-February, to be honest about the whole situation and where we are right now, and finalizing a couple of equipment items and getting things organized, because we want to have a beautiful presentation for anyone that comes and visits. And another thing, in working with even though Ryan is gone, Ryan has already established that he's going to work on providing interns from his classes. So we want to make sure that we have a presentable product if we venture into that realm of things.
Well, I'll close with this statement, and unless somebody else want to add to this, but I'll just say this: looking at the studio from downstairs, upstairs, and just me passing through, and I always pass through you guys' office all the time. So that just kind of, I want to kind of see kind of where we are and see kind of how it evolved into what it is today. So great job. It looks really, really well. I don't know if anybody had a chance to kind of walk through there, Commissioner Carthen and others, to kind of get a peek, a bird's eye view of what it's become now, and what the studio upstairs for sure looks like, yet along downstairs with what you guys got, and they laid it out. So great job, and I think these guys have done an excellent job. I'm glad to know that we are somewhat in budget, but I know
we're in budget with the renovation project.
Okay, right. But with that, great job.
Yes, thank you.
Again, go ahead.
Yeah, no, sir, you go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So anybody else got anything to add to this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that, to your point, we go through pretty much on a daily basis through, especially the studio on the third floor, and it is the amazing transformation that has occurred. The set, the flooring, and in Citizens Hall, the actual board that they now operate from. I believe that we are operating on a level that we are supposed to at this point. We have the equipment that we've needed for years, and just thank you all on the Board of Commissioners for making that happen. And I've gone through and they've walked me through, lightweight, how the equipment operates and what have you, and I just see a big difference in the total product that we put out on DCT TV.
Mhm.
Kudos to the staff and and to the things that we're putting out. I believe the show there at the animal shelter will be coming out soon. Oh, it's already been aired.
Yes.
And I'll be working with Madam Chair on some programming as well. So I'm excited about that. Excited about exploring all that the new renovations can offer us as a county. So.
Yep, I agree, Fred. Job well done, though, guys. Job well done. So, okay.
All righty. We have a couple more tabs because we want to hurry and get out of here. Sierra, I'll take this one because I really want you to delve into the communication team goals. In-house training, we had decided that, everybody needs to have different tools in their toolbox. So being a part of the team, everyone kind of needs to chip in as far as messaging and news releases. So we are working to do that in-house training within the communications department to make sure if, there are a number of news releases that need to be written, that Sierra is prepared to do one. We were preparing Ryan. Ryan actually used to be afraid to post anything on Facebook. He would always ask us for wording. But before he left, Ryan really got a grasp of posting good posts. And so we want to keep moving in that direction where everybody is capable of at least drafting a news release. Before Ryan left, Ryan did a great job. I think Sierra had mentioned, or Assistant County Administrator mentioned that Ryan typed out the manuals that we needed from start to finish on how to
Operate.
get broadcasting started, post things to the television station. Ryan did an awesome job. So we now have manuals, and that was his sole thing that he wanted to accomplish. And he did that in the last week or so that he was here. So we do have those manuals in place. So Commissioner Mitchell, if you decide to go into the booth, there will be instructions on how to start programming and get things streamed out. So he did a fantastic job. And then, he did the TriCaster training for us as well. That's part of the getting things out on the air through the television station. Ryan did a lot. But I want you to know that Sierra she was right on his heels. And unfortunately, she has to deal with me and training me. So that's going to be a challenge for her. But I do want everyone to know that you are in good hands. As long as we stay organized and as long as we are well prepared for anything that needs to be covered, we got you. That's one thing I want you to know is that we know we have a lot going on with the renovations and trying to get it completed, but my knowledge base is increasing thanks to Ryan and Sierra is my MacGyver. So please know that you are in good hands and we are managing very well thus far, and we will continue to strive to produce good products for not only the Board of Commissioners, but the community as well. So that's my spiel on media training. If you have any questions.
Well, I'm glad to note that we're definitely cross training. We're definitely putting SOPs together so that anyone could walk in if they follow the steps that they are able to kind of continue the process. So no, kudos to you guys and thinking along that line. Good stuff. Anybody else want to add to this media conversation? Please chime in.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Phyllis, thank you for that update. And I often wondered that. So it's great to know that Ryan, before he left, kind of got that taken care of.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would love for you all to do is start doing a knowledge-based dump. And it could start off with just a Word doc. And as scenarios come up, that way you will be able to put in. So let's just say, somebody's mic went out on the dais, right? Well, what do we do? How do we compensate for that? Somebody, has figured it out. Just like with our meetings on Thursday, where the sound wasn't. That's another knowledge-based opportunity. Hey, if the sound goes out or the sound is not this, then here's the mics or here's what you can do to compensate for that. So those knowledge-based dumps are really, really helpful for whoever comes in. Just kind of like the media training. How do you start up? How do you, make sure it's streaming? Those little one-off knowledge-based dumps are really crucial in continuing to ensure that whoever steps in, at a moment's notice, or if you happen to have someone who is there, just temporarily, they can go to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Great stuff, and thank you for for making sure we know we're in good hands. We trust you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And now, yes. Was there another question?
No, I yield.
Okay. And then finally, Sierra and Ryan came up with our 2023 goals. So here's where I'll let Sierra take over.
Excuse me. Yeah, so we kind of just had a day where we sat and just thought about what we wanted to do for the new year. And this was all before Ryan accepted a phenomenal job that he totally deserves. But the first thing that we have on there is produce a highly viewed show or build an audience. What we mean by that is we would like to produce content that is community-based, that attracts the community eye, that the community cares for. Based on my background, I was taught that it's very much important to care about your community. It is very much important to care about what they think. It's important to also care about the content you create and making sure that that content is what they like, in a sense. And so, kind of going back a little bit to what Commissioner Carthen was saying in terms of numbers, that is highly on our radar in terms of tracking those numbers, finding the numbers, and making sure that we can really dive into understanding them so we know how to create the content to get that highly produced show. Our second goal, increase numbers from last year, and that's based on social media visits as well as website visits. The goal is to try to actually clean out our website a little bit and to see who's actually visiting, what they're visiting, what's catching their interest, and try to see how we can play more into that, as well as regarding our social media, kind of spreading the wealth a little bit, trying to figure out how we can increase our Instagram numbers, how we can increase our Twitter numbers. We want people to know that, based on your preference of what you like for social media, we have that and can offer that. Our third goal, excuse me, we have BOC and planning and zoning meetings. We want to upgrade the qualities of the show as well as include more mixed effects. When I say mixed effects, that's a broadcasting term in terms of when we're in our BOC meetings, if you notice the two-box shot, that is something we want to include more in planning and zoning meetings, as maybe even as well in the BOC work sessions now that they are back in person. And then our fourth goal, a lot of people don't know, but in government access, you can actually win media awards. I come from a background where that's the type of work I come from. I worked with a company that was award winning. They may not be, big awards like an Emmy or a Golden Globe, but to me, being able to say that DCTV 23 is an award winning government access channel I can see that vision and I know it's possible, especially based on everything that we've accomplished to this point. So that was part of one of our goals. Number 5, develop or contract out for communication policy procedures manual. So in regards to that, we want to do kind of an overhaul review of our communications department programming and practices. So we're kind of trying to determine policies and procedures in terms of how we operate. So an example of that would be, if Commissioner Mitchell comes to me with this idea and he doesn't necessarily have the full concept, but he's got a generalistic idea of it, then it's kind of like, okay, so what are our needs as the department? How do we express those needs to him, and what's the best practice in doing that? Whether that be like a form or just having him send us a list or anything of that nature. We're also looking into kind of like a step-by-step guide in terms of if it's like weather emergencies or posting to social media. So different things with different topics as such for our department. And then our final goal is focusing on health and wellness. We believe that, you look good, you feel good, you work good, all that kind of stuff. So if our mental is up and our physical is up and our emotional is up and our spiritual is up, that's going to create a better environment and a better work. Just when you're happy and excited and passionate about the work you do, you can see that come through in the different projects. So if we can have time to focus on that, that helps us be better prepared and excited about what we want to do. So to kind of wrap it up, 2023, we're hoping to do a lot. I'm okay if we don't, meet all of these goals, but I always like having something to work toward, and I think trying to make them as attainable as possible is usually what helps you be able to achieve it. So I'm open for any questions if you have them.
Wow, good stuff. Anybody got any comments, or anybody want to comment on this particular goal setting for programming?
Yes, Commissioner Mitchell.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So kudos, Phyllis and Sierra, for coming up with this. I love this, but I want us to be award winning as well. So let's do it. That means we're putting our content and people are taking note. And actually, just to kind of tie this in with what we do overall, people usually go to our websites, they'll see what we're doing before they do development or economic deals, right? They want to know the community, right? So what we put out actually can help us to attract that economic development that will help push the county forward, that will get the type of businesses, restaurants, housing developments. All of those things are really crucial. And it does start by social media presence and the type of content that we put out to attract people, to attract tourists. So, and then we just re-upped the new SPLOS. So we want those dollars and cents to come into the community. So this communications and programming team is crucial and vital to our economic development of the county. So yes, kudos to you. And definitely we want you to focus on your mental and wellness. I know DCA Perry has some awesome initiatives that he started on. I'm pretty sure he'll continue for the year to help with that, because you are absolutely right. We want you to feel good when you come in. So anything that we can help in terms of that, please let us know. But kudos again, and I thank you for this.
Thank you, Commissioner Carthen. Anybody else?
I'd like to go back to number 5 and the importance of having guidelines and policies and procedures in place on how to conduct ourselves when it comes to communications. It is very essential to have a communications policy. I really want to stress that. Just like Sierra stated, how we do things, who speaks when it's a crisis, who's going to be that lead person, what kind of messaging that will encompass media requests. How do we handle media requests? Just an outline or a guide that can help prepare us at all times, or that we can refer to when we have different things come up that people, staff-wise, commissioner-wise, know how we're going to handle different situations, because it's going to be in policy and procedures. Who's able to give out information? Where does that information need to come from? How does that information need to look? What outlets do we need to present that information is? Do we hold a news conference? Do we write a press release? So I really want to stress the importance of working with the board, as well as county administrator and assistant county administrator, on how we can get a policy in place for this department.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Chairman Mitchell.
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to comment how, and also Vice Chair Carthen, I wanted to comment how impressive this was. A meeting with Phyllis and Sierra, and how the team has really come together with this, presentation and programming. I often still continue communicating with Phyllis, working on projects collaboratively, even in the fire and EMS department. And, I really want to give kudos to Assistant County Administrator Stuart Stanley for, scheduling a meeting, where I think next week, where, we're going to be discussing protocols, emergency protocols, and what have you. It's communication is our existence of how we relate to one another. I'm really excited, what the future holds, and how the Board of Commissioners will lead us forward. So I just, I'm really excited by all of this.
Good, Rick. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'll just add, and that is great work. And this particular meeting is really, really, it's kind of good to know the direction and what the vision is. I'm like Commissioner Carthen. I mean, I want us to think award-winning, because I think all of our content is as such, but the presentation of it needs to be as such. It needs to be thought about as such. I truly like that we're trying and using and stretching the software that we have, doing the double screens and triple screens and name writing. This is all good, great stuff that I know I always felt like we had it in us. We just got to kind of get there to use it and take advantage of what we already have. So let's keep that mindset. I mean, our content is probably the best content that's out there. Delivering that content is going to be crucial. And always, as Fred and I and Tiffany, we all talk about, we want to give our narrative versus someone else, stating what we did or didn't do or whatever the case may be. So we should always think first, and that is put our narrative out as to how well we've done. Because there are some who, even with the SPLOST, think that we didn't do a good job. But we've got to tell them how great of a job we've done because of all the things and projects that we've done to get us here. And that's why we got the next SPLOST. So yes, let's create our narrative and make it and keep it in the mindset of award-winning. And the accolades will come along with it. So, but I think this is good stuff. And to all of you guys, to include, Fred and Tiffany, you guys are on the right path. We just got to kind of do the work, and the return will be great. So kudos. Anybody else? Did we miss anybody?
Hey, Commissioner Mitchell, I did put you in Commissioner Carthen health and wellness piece. I would love to see Phyllis and the communications team partner with human resources. That's a big focus of the department. We actually have a vendor that we partner with grant funds provided to us by Anthem. And all he does is health and wellness for the county. We actually have been in the ACCG magazine before in regards to the yoga program that we offer for county employees, and we have to do a better job of promoting that. But health and wellness, mental health and wellness, financial wellness, things of that nature is the focus of that program. So great to see that that is on the goals list for the department. And yeah, again, I just want to encourage the team to reach out to human resources and have some collaboration there, because there are some things in place and underway that that I'm sure you all will find helpful in that area where your goals are. So, kudos to you all. Great job.
Thank you.
I agree, Fred. So listen, we're excited, Phyllis, Sierra. We're excited. Only thing I can say is let's kind of move the ball down the court and win.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Is there anything else to add to the agenda? Commissioner Carthen, is there anything that you have outside of the agenda that you wanted to add?
No.
Cool. I guess I'll pass it over to Fred and Tiffany.
I'm fine. Thank you, Commissioner.
Mm-hmm. Tiffany, you good?
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.
You got it. Well, guys, on that note, I guess I'm excited to I can walk through now and be prepared to just jump on air and do all the great things that programming has for us. Thank you again, guys. Have a great morning and enjoy your Tuesday, and we'll catch up soon, and the minutes will go out, and then the meeting will be scheduled again. So again, thank you. And on that note, this meeting stands adjourned. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.